Good morning, student. Good morning to all of you. Today we shall see a serious story. I would say it is serious story. For that, there are many reasons. The problem regarding women or problem regarding this second important part of human life, that is woman or woman. If I say woman, she will stand for the whole community. Boys, from 2000, the women have been facing lot of problem, especially the right of equality, the right of legacy, the right at home, and years after years, generation after generation, we observe that these women have been deprived of so many opportunities, so many privileges. If you observe in your family, at your home, you will see the different treatment, especially treatment. I am not talking about each and every woman at home, but there are a lot of women who make lot of difference between her son and daughter, and this is not good. This is not good. It is really unfair. Here in this lesson, the writer K. Abbas brings a lot of problem about the treatment she received at home, about her right of education, about her marriage, about her security. Lot of problems are there. Even today in jet age, in atomic age, if we switch on TV, we listen to very serious news regarding women's security. This is very bad. Still, the women are deprived of all these things. This bully will bring such a problem in this story. Boys, the name of that bully is actually Sulekha. Means educated, one who is educated or one who is very clever in education. But the society, the community, the members of her family made her bully. She has been deprived of so many rights of legacy, right of her good treatment at her home, right of education, and important place of woman. See, I will read, and the question given in the beginning of the lesson and in the middle of the lesson, I will write it down on the blackboard at the last. Or if you have a book, you can read with me. Page number 54. Page number 54. Now I have given you some ideas about the story. The story read like this. The story goes like this. Her name was Sulekha. Underline this and now go to the end of the story on the page number 61. 61, second paragraph, last. And Sulekha said in a voice, means her name is uttered only twice in this story. In the beginning, Sulekha, see here, in the first sentence, and in the last, but second paragraph, Sulekha. It means it highlights how she might have been deprived of her right. Instead of Sulekha, she is known as Bholi everywhere. Let me start, boys. There are a lot of things to be talk about women's right and all this nonsense. As long as men are there, I hope that women will never get their right. And who impose injustices? Who impose injustice on one? Woman is woman's enemy. And now if you see, who catch the newly married girl? Mother-in-law. Who pour gaslight on in? Sister-in-law. Who set her on fire? A woman. This is very sad part of life, I have to say, very sorrowfully. See here, let us see. Try to give the judgment, try to give the justification to women everywhere. Respect them as a Durga, respect them as a sister, respect them as mother, respect them as goddess of power, respect them as a goddess of strength. Unless and until you just imagine yourself that when you look at woman, you must think that she is wearing a crown of goddess, and look at her in that angle of point of view. So you will start respecting her. You respect her. You respect her as a mother, sister, relative, Bua, Mausi, and like that. Come on. Her name was Sulekha, but since her childhood, everyone had been calling her Bholi, the simpleton, simple girl. She was the fourth daughter of Nimedar Ramdayal, a revenue officer who collect the revenue from the village. When she was 10 months old, she had fallen off the cot on her head, and perhaps it had damaged some sort of brain. That was why she remained a backward child and came to be known as Bholi, the simpleton. Now, what is the story of her life? It is a saga of suffering. Lot of bad incidents, sad incident had taken place in her life. When she was a child, she had fallen off the cot and she got the injury, and that's why she could not speak properly, and she remained mentally weak as compared to the other, and she was known as a Bholi. Why she was known as a Bholi? Give the answer to this question from this passage, from this paragraph. As the birth, the child was very fair and pretty. Actually, when she was born, she was very good looking girl. But another shock in her life that had taken place here. But when she was 2 years old, she had an attack of smallpox. Devi. Only the eyes were saved, but the entire body was permanently disfigured by deep black pock marks. Little Sulekha, this is the second time her name is uttered here. Little Sulekha could not speak till she was 5, and when at last she learned to speak, she stammered. The other children often made fun of her and mimicked her. As a result, she talked very less, she talked very little. Ramdayal had 7 children. As usually in the past, people do have a lot of children, lot of wives, and a lot of children in one family. Ramlal is not an exceptional case. Ramlal had 7 children, 3 sons and 4 daughters, and the youngest of them was Bholi. It was a prosperous farmer's household, and there was plenty to eat and drink. All the children except Bholi were healthy and strong. The son had been sent to see here. The son had been already sent to the city to study in school and later in college. Of the daughter Radha, the eldest, and of the daughters Radha, the eldest, had already been married. See, she had not been given education. She was deprived of education. Instead of giving her education, she got married. Of the daughter Radha the eldest and all the children except Bholi were healthy and strong. The son had been sent to the city to study in school and later in colleges. Of the daughter Radha the eldest had already been married. The second daughter Mangala's marriage had also been settled, and when that was done, Ramlal would think of the third Champa. They were good looking, healthy girls, and it was not difficult to find bridegroom for them. See how many daughters he had. First Radha, second Mangala, third Champa, and fourth Bholi. Radha got married. She is on the verge of marriage. Later on, had already been engaged, and two girls remained. About Champa, no problem. She was good looking woman. She was good looking daughter. And Bholi had a problem. His father thought it. But Ramlal was worried about Bholi. She had neither good look nor intelligence. Bholi was 7 years old when Mangala was married. The same year primary school for a girl was opened in their village. The Tahsildar Sahib came to perform its opening ceremony. He said to Ramlal, as a revenue official, you are the representative of the government in the village, and so you must set an example to the villager. You must send your daughter to school. That night when Ramlal consulted his wife, she cried and see how practical she is. And what does she say? Are you crazy? If girls are go to school, who will marry them? At that time, this was the pratha. This was the way. This was the routine. This was the orthodoxical thing. If the girls are learned, they will not get husband. Nobody will marry them. But Ramlal had not the courage to disobey Tahsildar. At last his wife said, I will tell you what to do. Send Bholi to school as it is. There is little chance of her getting married with her ugly face and lack of sense. Let the teacher at school worry about. See, can you think a woman, mother, can think like this way? Or could you imagine? Can you imagine a mother talking like this about her girl? No way, but this is seen in the family. This is fact, really fact, no doubt. The next day, Ramlal caught Bholi by the hand and said, come with me, I will take you to school. Bholi was frightened. She did not know what a school was like. She remembered how a few days ago their old cow Lakshmi had been turned out to the house and sold. No, she shouted in terror and pulled her hand away from her father's grip. What is the matter with you, you fool? Shouted Ramlal. I am only taking you to school. Then he told his wife, let her wear some decent cloth today, or else what will the teacher and other girls school think of us when they see her? New cloth had never been made for Bholi. See the treatment. She had 3 elder sisters, and the old cloth generally passed over to Bholi. She had never been made. The new cloth had never been made for Bholi. The old dresses of her sister were passed to her. No one cared to mend or wash her cloth. But today she was lucky to receive a clean cloth which had shrunk after many washing, so no longer fitted Champa. She was even bathed and oiled and rubbed into her dry matted hair. Only then did she begin to believe that she was being taken to a place better than her home. When they reached the school, the children were already in their schoolroom. Ramlal handed over his daughter to the headmistress. Left alone, the poor girl looked around her with her fear-laden eyes. There were several rooms, and in each room girls like her squatted, sit on the mat, reading from book or writing on slate. The headmistress the headmistress asked Boli to sit in a corner in one of the classrooms. But Boli did not know what exactly school was like and what happened there, but she was glad to find so many girls almost of her own age present there. She hoped that one of these girls might become her friend. The lady teacher who was in her class was saying something to Boli, but Boli could understand nothing. She looked at the picture on the wall. The color fascinated her, attracted her. The horse was brown, just like the horse on which Tahsildar had come to visit their village. The goat was black, like the goat of their neighbor. The parrot was green, like the parrot she had seen in mango orchard, and the cow was just like Lakshmi. And suddenly Boli noticed that the teacher was standing by her side, smiling at her. "What's your name, little one?" Boli. She could stammer no further than that. Then she began to cry, and tears flowed from her eyes in helpless flood. She kept her head down as she sat in her corner, not daring to look up at the girls who she knew were still laughing at her. Then when the school bell rang, all the girls ran away out of the classroom, scurried out of the classroom, but Boli dared not leave the corner. Her head still lowered. She kept on sobbing, crying, weeping. Boli. The teacher's voice was so soft and soothing. In all her life, she had never been called like that. It touched her heart. "Get up." It is not a command, but just a friendly suggestion. Boli got up. "Now tell me your name." Sweat broke out over the whole body. Would her stammering tongue again disgrace her? For the sake of this kind woman, however, she decided to make an effort. She had such a soothing voice. She would not laugh at her. She began to stammer. Well done. The teacher encouraged. "Come on, now full name." Boli. At last she was able to say, and felt relieved as if it was a great achievement. "Well done." The teacher patted her affectionately and said, "Put the fear out of your heart and you will be able to speak like anyone else." Boli looked up as if to ask, "Really?" Yes. It will be very easy. You just come to school every day. Will you come?" Boli nodded. "No, say it loud." Yeah, yes. And Boli herself was astonished, wondered, surprised that she had been able to say, "Didn't I tell you? Now take this book." The book was full of pictures, and pictures were in color: dog, cat, goat, horse, parrot, tiger, and a cow just like Lakshmi. And with every picture was a word in big block letter. In 1 month you will be able to read this book, and then I will give you a bigger book, then a still bigger one. In time, you will be more learned than anyone else in the village. Then no one will ever be able to laugh at you. People will listen to you with respect, and you will be able to speak without the slightest stammer. Understand? Now go home and come back early tomorrow morning. Bholi left as if suddenly all the bells in the village temple were ringing, and the tree in front of the schoolhouse had blossomed into big red flowers. Her heart was throbbing with a new hope and new life. Thus the year passed. The village became, now see the change, the village became a small town. The little primary school became a high school. There were now a cinema under a tin shed and cotton ginning mill. The mail train began to stop at the railway station. One night after dinner, Ramlal said to his wife, "Then shall I expect Bhim's proposal?" One night after dinner, Ramlal said to his wife, "Then shall I accept Bishambar's proposal?" "Yeah, certainly," his wife said. "Bholi will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom. A big shop, a house of his own, and here several thousand in the bank. However, it is not, and moreover, he is not," means Vishambar was not asking, or is not asking for any dowry. "That is right, but he is not so young." See how practical Bholi's mother is. Almost Bholi's father was a good person. He said that there was difference about the age between Bholi and that man who was going to get married with her. "Almost the same age I am, and he also langda bhi tha और एजेड भी था. Moreover, the children from the first wife, और उसके बच्चे भी थे वो आदमी को बड़े बड़े. So what does it matter?" His wife replied, 45 or 50, it is not age. So see, Bholi is hardly a 15-year-old girl, and her mother said, "What? See, you listen to it yourself. 45 or 50, it is not a great age for man. You are lucky that we are lucky that he is from another village and does not know about her pox mark and her lack of sense. If we do not accept this proposal, she may remain unmarried all her life." Yes, but I wonder what Bholi will say. What will that witless, foolish one say? She is like a dumb cow. "Maybe you are right," muttered Ram Lal. In the other corner of the courtyard, Bholi lay awake on her cot, listening to her parent whispered conversation. Vishambar Nath was a well-to-do grocer. He came with a party of friends and relations with him for the wedding. A brass band playing a popular tune from an Indian film headed the procession with the bridegroom riding decorated horse. Ramlal was overjoyed to see such pomp and splendor. He had never dreamed that his fourth daughter would have such a grand wedding. Bholi's elder sister, who had come for the occasion, were also jealous of her luck or envious of her luck. When the auspicious moment came, the priest said, "Bring the bride." Bholi, clad in her red silken bridal dress, was led to the bride's place near the sacred fire. Garland, the bride, one of his friends, prompted Bishambar Nath. The bridegroom lifted the garland of yellow marigold. A woman slipped back the silken veil from the bride's face. Vishambar took a quick glance. Her garland remained posed in his hand. The bride slowly pulled down the veil over the face. "Have you seen her?" said Vishwambar to his friend next to him. She has a pock marks on her face. So what? You are not young either? Maybe, but I am to marry. Oh, maybe, but if I am to marry, her father must give me 5,000 rupees. Ramlal went and placed his turban, his honor, at Vishwambar's feet. Don't humiliate me, so take 2,000 rupees. No, 5,000. We go back. Keep your daughter. Be a little considerate, please. If you go back, I can never show my face in the village. Then out with 5,000, tears streaming down his face. Ramlal went in, opened the safe and counted out the notes. He placed the bundle at the bridegroom's feet. On Vishwambar's greedy face appeared a triumphant smile. He had gambled and won. Give me the garland, he announced. Once again, the veil was slipped back from the bride's face, but this time her eyes were not downcast. She was looking up, looking straight at her prospective husband, and in her eyes there was neither anger nor hate, only cold contempt. Vishwambar raised the garland to place it round the bride's neck, but before he could do so, Bholi had struck out like a streak of lightning, and the garland was flung into the fire. She got up and threw away the veil. Pitaji, said Bholi in a clear voice, and her father, mother, sister, brother, relation, and relative were startled, surprised to hear her speak without even the slightest tremor. Pitaji, take back your money. I am not going to marry this man. Ramlal was thunderstruck. The guests began to whisper, so shameless, so ugly, and so shameless. Bholi, are you crazy? Shouted Ramlal. You want to disgrace your family? Have you regard? You have regard for our izzat. For the sake of our izzat, said Bholi. For the sake of your izzat, said Bholi, I was willing to marry this lame and old man, but I will not have such a mean, greedy, contemptible coward as my husband. I won't. What a shameless girl. We all thought she was a harmless dumb cow. Bholi turned violently on the old woman. Yes, auntie, you are right. You all thought I was dumb driven cow. That is why you wanted to hand me over to this butcher, heartless creature. But now the dumb cow, the stammering fool, is speaking. Do you want to hear me more? Vishwambarnath the grocer started to go back with his party. The confused bandsman thought this was the end of the ceremony and struck up a closing song. Ramlal stood rooted to the ground, his head bowed low with weight of grief and shame. The flame of the scared fire slowly died down. Everyone was gone. Ramlal turned to Bholi and said, but what about you? No one will marry you now. What shall we do with you? And Sulekha, third time her name is repeated here. And Sulekha said in a voice that was calm and steady, Don't you worry, Pitaji. In your old days, I will serve you and mother, and I will teach in the same school where I learned so much. Isn't that right, Mom? The teacher had all along stood in a corner watching the drama. Yes, Bholi, of course, she replied. In her smiling eyes was the light of dissatisfaction that an artist feels when contemplating the completion of her masterpiece. In this way, the little girl Bholi fought for her rights and rejected to get married with the hopeless person. I think that you might have understood the story, and I hope that as PH do lot of problems, like write an article regarding to woman place in society. Role of woman in politics and in this way, so and so. Okay, thank you. And now boys, I want to tell you the pattern of examination. Let me rub this. There will be three questions. There will be three short questions. You have to attempt two out of 3 in 20 to 30 words. Each question will carry 2 marks. In this way, total will be 4. 1. Second, there will be 3 questions in about 40 to 50 words. You have to attempt 2. Each question will carry 4 marks. In this way, total 8 marks. And now, third, there will be 2 long questions you have to solve or attempt 1 in about 100 to 120 words. The question will carry 5 marks. total 5 means your rapid reading will be of 17 mark. So let me repeat it. See the pattern of question. There will be 3 short question. You have to attempt 2 out of 3 in about 20 to 30 words. Each question will carry 2 marks. Each question will carry 2 marks and the total will go 4. Now second, there will be 3 questions from RR in about 40 or 50 words. You have to attempt 2 out of 3. Each question will carry 4 mark and the total will be 8 mark. There will be 2 long question. You have to attempt 1 in about 100 words or 150 words. The question will carry 5 marks. So first 8 mark, first 4 mark, second 8 mark and last one 5 mark. The total will be 17. This is the marks ratio about your rapid reading. Now today let me declare that your literature, part of literature, rapid reading and detailed study has come to an end. From Monday we will start grammar. Thank you. I hope you might have understood it. Thanks a lot.